Hi, my name is Gracie Burrows, and for my final topic, I'm going to be discussing workplace disability discrimination. So, for a more broad definition, there is employment discrimination, which is just discrimination in any aspect of the workplace, from the hiring process to promotions and demotions, to scheduling, projects and assignments, or disciplinary action. And then more specifically, there's disability discrimination, which kind of speaks for itself. It's just unfair treatment towards those who are disabled in the workplace. And that can be in any of those aspects, whether it be hiring, scheduling, and whatnot. And then further discrimination can occur towards those who are disabled if they're not reasonably accommodated for their disability. So just for a little background on what a disability technically is by law, the ADA, which is the Americans with Disability Act, defines a disabled person as being mentally or physically impaired to a point that it substantially limits their ability to participate in major life activities. So the ADA, like I said, is the Americans with Disability Act. It was originally signed into law in 1990 to prohibit discrimination towards those who are disabled. It was first narrowed in 1999 before it was back to being inversely broadened in 2008. In 1999, the definition of a disability was narrowed to be you were not considered disabled if your condition could be corrected. And then that was expanded in 2008 to where that was no longer the case. It was a response to there being confusion under what was a disability and what wasn't. So it was broadened to where a lot more falls under being disabled than it was prior. So the new act, the ADAAA, is the Americans with Disability Act Amendment Act, which was put into place in 2008. That just weakened the standard of what substantial limitation was. It expands what is considered major life activities as stated in the definition. And then it also eliminates assessing your impairments with the consideration of correction. So as it was narrowed in 1999, where if your condition could be corrected, you were no longer disabled, that is no longer taken into account in the broadened definition in 2008. And then there's something called the regarded as test, which is basically just if an employer perceives an employee as impaired. This is something that individuals can go to court with. If they technically aren't considered disabled under the definition, they can go with regarded as cases. And then lastly, the Equal Pay Act can be taken into effect, with the disability discrimination law. The Equal Pay Act basically states that no one can be unfairly treated considering monetary compensation in the workplace, and so that goes for those who are disabled as well. Equal work equals equal pay, and that goes for if you are disabled as well. So by law, you must reasonably accommodate those with disabilities in the workplace. So some reasonable accommodations include readily available existing facilities, job restructuring, part-time and modified schedules, reassignment of vacant positions, availability of readers/interpreters, and modification of equipment and devices. And once again, it is the law that you have to reasonably accommodate someone with a disability in the workplace. And then next, I'm going to go into a specific disability discrimination case. The one that I chose was the Toyota Motor Manufacturing Kentucky Incorporated versus Williams case. I still have more to do on this topic, but just a broad overview of it is Williams developed carpal tunnel in her hands and along with some other things, and was no longer able to work as she did on the production line, and so she asked for accommodations, and then she was told no, and later on she ended up coming to work less and less, but was then laid off, and she went to court saying that she was fired because of her disability and whatnot. And originally the court said that the company was not in the wrong, but later they went back and reviewed it and realized that Williams won the case. So I will be covering that a little bit more. And then after I do that, I will summarize everything and have my reference page at the end.